Headline in today's business day on the Naira appreciation. Let's take a look at that. There it is. Naira rally below 1,000 lures investors. How much of this can we attribute to the CBN draining Naira liquidity by offering investors more to hold the Naira? Is the CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso pursuing more orthodox monetary policy? Let's take a look at two recent OMO auctions. That's open market operations back to back. This was on the 30th. Look at the 365-day paper there. Offered 150 billion. The subscription was 2 times that amount, 17.5% of what was offered. Total sale was 325 billion. That was on October the 30th. Well, what about November the 1st? We got to ask our guests about this because it's pretty rare to do this back to back. So 342-day paper all the way to the right hand of your screen. They offered 50 billion. Again, the subscription, that is the number of people who said, give me that money. Let me get, or not rather, give me the rate, 17.98, 100.2 billion, although the total sale was lower than that. So let's unpack all this. Joining us, very happy to have Ajibola Tobi-Osho. She's the Vice President, Treasury and Dealing over at Zedcrest Group. Ajibola, you're very welcome. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. So, what is the direction of the central bank in terms of what we're seeing with monetary policy? How do you explain it all?
Okay, so I just want to highlight that first of all, we need to give kudos to him, the president, the CBN governor, for what he's doing so far. I mean, market has longed for this over time. We knew for some reason we've been on the form of monetary policy, and he had really hurt us so bad. So first of all, we needed to have moved from the points minus 1,000 that we were to 0.0 before we then now know how to forge ahead. Recently, like you said, you projected they did 2 OMOs back to back. I mean, let's understand the concept of OMO, right? OMO is just a form of monetary policy tool in order to regulate money in the system. Correct. You could either do that by increasing cash reserve for banks, or you do an OMO. Okay. Right.
And that's open market operations,
exactly,
right?
Open market operations.
All right.
Which is what they did back to back on Monday and on Wednesday. On Monday, market opened up with about almost close to 1 trillion. They needed, at all costs, to reduce the money in circulation. I mean, if you're battling inflation, you can't just leave money to be in circulation. You can't leave money You can't leave money in the hands of people. So as a result, they had to float that, and that's a good sign from them, right? If you look at the discount rate, that's 17.98. That's effectively a yield of about 21%. That's very good, right? It's very good. Whether or not you want FPIs to come and invest in your country, they would if they see they can pick up some gains on the interest rate side. So interest rate at the moment is reflecting where market should be, and it's a good thing.
Cool. And FPIs, you technical people use a lot of acronyms. That's foreign portfolio investors, right?
Yes.
So can we attribute any of this to the appreciation we've seen in the currency? If you're offering more returns for these papers, how would you look at that? Well,
I think we can really attribute the appreciation in Naira to the FX backlog that was cleared.
Okay.
If you remember, on Monday we started off with OMO. Then on Tuesday we started off the news that CBN governor cleared backlog of forward for some banks.
Right.
That's good news. That's very, very good news. I mean, that's what the investors have been looking out for. That's what whoever is looking at Nigeria as an economy and credit and rating us, that's all they are yearning for, that we start doing what we need to do, right? Clearing that is a good sign. It shows that we are ready, we are being serious. And I mean, all of this is good, but not supported with proper fiscal policy, we can say is a waste of time. So the monetary policy man in question, the CBN governor, can do all the right things to lead us toward the right direction. But if it's not supported with a good fiscal policy in terms of regulation on increasing revenue, at the minimum, our structures, infrastructures, and build on that, I would not say it's a full project, but as it is now, we're looking forward at something that is going on at a very nice pace, and we can say it has positive outlook.
Excellent. Stock bonds, sovereign bonds, are they? How do you like the rates? As far as I think this is in the secondary market as at Friday, double digits, I think 14-15%. There we go. 14.6 on the 3-year, 15. What do you make of these rates? Competitive? What do you think?
Oh, very competitive. And if market has opened lower today, Nigeria booked a lot of gain on Friday, and it was all on the back of good news coming from the country. So for Eurobonds, right, most of the times, what affects the rates on Europe in the Eurobond space is the US market and your own local market.
Right.
So if you have positive news from the US market and you have positive news from your own local market, that's double grace for you. So you would see a lot of buying interest, not necessarily from only FPIs, but from even local investors. And for any reason, once your Eurobond, Nigerian Eurobond yield start touching double digits, to be honest, for market people, it's always a buy. Do you understand? Especially when it's nearing 14, oh my God, it's a buy. Because by and large, all these things, whatever bad news so far that they have, it would retrace past and it would be fixed. So
how does one? Okay, because I get a lot of these questions. How does one? If I meet up with a Zedcrest Capital and say, help me buy Eurobonds or sovereign bonds, how do you do that?
Oh, that's very easy. We have an asset management that is registered with SEC. I mean, we are not just any kind of body. We have a regulatory body that we are fully registered with. You can go on SEC sites to check the names of, asset managers that are registered. We are there. So you just have to on board with the asset management. They just do like a bit of KYC on you, and then you give them an instruction. They'll buy whatever it is you need. They'll buy
Eurobonds, of course, are in dollars and so on and so forth. So that would be broken down by the asset manager for individuals to buy. Exactly.
So you can either have dollars in your account, or then you need to source dollar. However way you need to go buy it, you just give us an instruction, have your money ready, and then we'll buy it for you.
And it's a good idea to diversify your portfolio, right?
Of course. You want to place it across all forms of investment instrument. You want to do locals. You just want to place it all around.
Excellent stuff. Okay, what else? I think I should ask you about T-bills now.
Sure.
What about rates there as well? Are those attractive?
So there's an auction this week on the back of. If I go back to the OMO, OMO first of all is not for the general public. It's for banks and FPIs.
Right. Okay.
However, because it is kind of anchoring market rate now, we expect that too should follow in the NTB market, and that should be a bit reflective of where market is. So yeah, it's a good yield to pick on for Treasury bills. There's going to be one on Wednesday. About 300 billion plus is on offer, and we expect that rate should swing between 13 to 15% for the 91 days to the 365 days. So of course it's a good buy for anybody that wants to invest.
Great. So we've talked bonds, we've talked Euro bonds. I want to ask you about retail bonds, right? Because I believe this week we should have a new window open for the November offer. I haven't seen the details yet, but if we look at the October offer, which was the last time the federal government savings bonds came out, I think the 2-year, there it is. So the 2-year was 11%, 3-year 12. Entry point is only 5,000 naira. What's your take on this as far as this bond offer is concerned and how it stacks up to the others?
It would take a cue from the market. It would take a cue from where market is trading. I saw like a glimpse of what the November one is like. It's about 12 and 13%.
Okay, so it's gone up.
Yes, about 12 and 13%. I even expected it to go higher than that. But one thing about the CBN, the DMO, is that they always want to take a cue to have a perfect yield curve. So you have an upward moving yield curve. So the short end cannot, be higher than every other bond on offer. So next week too, there's going to be the FGN bond offer where you have the 2029s, the 2038s, the 2053s on offer too. So usually they take a cue from their contemporary, the longer dated bonds. So. Around 12 and 13, I would say, well, that's being too optimistic, right? Because if you look at the yield on Treasury bills, if the last Treasury bills, even at 13.75, the yield is about 16%. So at the minimum, people are expecting, if not 16%, something close, right? But let's see how it plays out. It's the first bond auction after yield had moved in the market. So let's see how it plays out.
Very interesting. So am I being too picky if I'm saying none of this is getting close to where inflation is at 26%?
You are not being too picky. You are not being too picky.
So what's your response to someone that says, well, all these rates are going up, but it's not quite yet meeting up with inflation?
It was far away from inflation before. Now it's getting closer. At the minimum, what's MPR rate in the market? MPR rate is where all other rates should pick from. That's where every other rate in the market should pull their rate from. It's about 18.75%.
That's right.
Plus 100 minus 300, right? It looks good. Right? It's not there yet, but it looks good. We do not expect, at least in the Nigerian situation, we know that we might not see rate get to where inflation is, because at the other end, to all the things that CBN is putting together is to fight inflation. Right. And then we will start seeing that effect from next year, kind of. First of all, the base effect, and then if they're able to successfully do all this that they need to do, if FX prices continue to drop, of course, prices of goods and services should eventually drop.
Okay, so is that being said, because we know the last monetary policy committee meeting was, was it postponed or delayed? Do you expect NPR to continue to rise? I mean, if they're still chasing inflation, and again, monetary policy rates for our viewers, is it likely that I could keep going up? They could keep hiking?
I mean, they will stay hawkish, but it will slow down, right? The rate at which it goes up, I expect it to slow. I mean, at the next, given that all these things are happening, at the next NPR, is either they leave it or they increase it slightly by 25 basis points. We don't expect them to start dropping it because you don't have anything just yet. I mean, there are no signals just yet for you to start dropping interest rates, right? So I don't see them aggressively move it up. I mean, if there's anything, maybe plus 25 basis points, or they leave it at where it is.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about Nigeria's debts and how much Nigeria has to repay. Now, some say that, look, it's good that most of your debt is domestic as opposed to being foreign. So with inflation where it is, you saying at the next monetary policy committee meeting, they will either hike or hold. As rates are climbing for your sovereign bonds, retail bonds, OMO, isn't that increasing costs for government?
Oh, definitely it's increasing costs, but these are costs that they have to incur. I mean, you can't eat your cake and have it. You have a lot of things have been disrupted. And for you to fix it, there has to be a cost. So this is a cost that you have to bear.
Are you in line with Fitch? Fitch saying that the outlook for the economy is going to be stable if the reforms can. How do you guys over at Zedcrest, how are you seeing the economy? I mean, we're almost at the end of the year, so now we're looking to 2024.
Well, like I said earlier, monetary policy not supported with fiscal policy is as good as nothing, right? If you read that Fitch report, they also identify the fact that the major problem we have are infrastructures, how government run things. They said a lot of things around inflation rate is their concern, our local production and all this. We need the government to support that. So the CBN government can sit in its high places and do all that needs to be done. But if it's not supported with proper fiscal policy turnaround, it's not going to work out.
All right, we're out of time, but I always do this whenever we get equity analysts on the show and then fixed income analysts. You're biased to fixed income, right? Because the Nigerian Stock Exchange is up 36% yesterday.
Of course, it's doing very well. I mean, it would do very well because it's good news. When you see, you can say equity market is more responsive than the own fixed income market. People still think about it. For the equities market, it has been the best performer this year, if I say, whether or not we are going through ours in the fixed income market. Equity market has played out very, very well. For those that have invested in equity, they've cashed out real good from January till date, and it's still looking like it's good. And supported with the fact that most of all the FX reform that happened affected banks, financial institutions positively. So we see that, play out in the equities market.
That's very nice to have a fixed income person telling people that equities are doing well. Ajibola Tobi-Osho, Vice President, Treasury Sales and Dealer at Zedcrest Group. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for breaking down the market for us.